What is up, real estate business builders? Let's get after it here. This is, I feel like every time I say this when I present on a topic and part of our weekly training series, but I want to go through how to make 10 times the amount of take home income as a real estate agent, and specifically how to get out of all the administrative tasks that we do. Not that these tasks aren't important. I think that's a criticism. A lot of times when I challenge the status quo, how traditional real estate agents roll in their businesses, I'll say 80% of the things you're doing are not dollar productive. And they'll say, well, showing homes and, putting listings in MLS and all of this stuff is important. And we'll go through all of that today. I just want to give you a different perspective on how you can, I think it's possible to 10x. Depends on where you are, of course. But if you can get out of doing the administrative tasks in your business, it is game over, my friends. So let's get after it here. And I'm going to go with this view here. So 10x your take home income, stop being the admin in your business and set yourself free. If you did not grab a copy of the real estate admin hiring guide, make sure you do it. We've got 100x. Let's crush it. Thanks for showing up and commenting. All right, so grab a copy. Just type freedom wherever you are consuming this information. Just type in freedom. We'll get you a copy of the admin hiring guide, and it's really about identifying, hiring, and training the ideal admin. So I'm not going to go into the nuts and bolts of that. I'm going to inspire you to take the next step in your business, and maybe you even have an admin. Maybe it's getting the second admin or doubling down on what you delegate to your admin. Either way, we're going to get after here. So I came upon this quote from Tim Tebow, which I thought was really, really good. Don't worry about what you can't control. Our focus and energy needs to be on the things we can control, which are attitude, effort, focus. These are the things we can control. So if attitude, effort, and focus are the things, the inputs we can't control, where are you coming up short? So is it, and especially I wanted to bring in this quote and this question because it's pretty squirrely times. Like it's month to month, it feels like, okay, the market is imploding. There's no sales happening. And then there's sales happening, then no sales happening. And we came off a 2.5 year, maybe a little bit more period where homes were just flying off the shelf and agents, good agents were doing really, really well. And even the good agents now are sort of struggling a little bit. So you may be feeling frustrated for a variety of reasons. The market, we're calling it the market of the moment, right? There's definitely less home sales happening, which is there's just less income available for all of the agents. There's just too many agents, less home selling. And so the market is shifting. You can call it whatever you want, but something's going on. As real estate agents, we have taken on the ultimate insanity, right? Most of us are married. We've got children. We're trying to run a business and take care of our mental health, our spiritual health, our physical health. And it's a crazy thing that we're taking on. On top of that, we've got social media, Netflix, the 24-hour news cycle. It's extraordinary the amount of information that's coming at us, and there's just a lot to do as a real estate agent. So if you break down the job of a real estate agent, it's probably well over 80% of the tasks that we do are administrative in nature. And that's where I want to challenge you and really expand your mindset around what's possible. There is hope. I believe, given the state of the market right now and the fact that there's less income, NAR, National Association of Realtors, says that 30%, I believe it's going to be more than that, 30% of agents will be out of the business in the next 12 to 24 months. This is the time to double down and start focusing on the things you can control and doing more, spending more of your week, more of your day in those dollar productive tasks so that you can increase your net worth, so that you can take more time off, so that you can put the things that matter in your life first. So if you don't know anything about me, I got into real estate in 2007, sold 27 homes in 10 months. Then just as the Great Recession was ramping up in 2008, I sold 44 homes, hired my first administrator February of 2008. So less than 1 year in the business, and I was already getting out of the administrative things in my business. Fast forward to 453 transactions about a handful of years later with 10 productive agents. I worked like 42 days that year, 5,000 plus families served in real estate. Thousands of agents have been through real estate B school. I've won the financial game. I've won the time game. I didn't come from any sort of background that you would have expected this. My parents divorced young. My father was an active alcoholic till I was 15. I pursued a career and I had a bunch of student loans that I didn't pursue. I didn't have any sales, marketing, systems, systems or business building experience, but I did want to succeed. So all that to say, I've made all the mistakes you possibly can make when it comes to building a business, and personal mistakes as well. Putting energy and focus on too much on the business and failing at home. I've done that consistently. So our son Anders was born in November 2007. So the pressure was on. Newly married, October 2006. I was married. Our daughter was born in April 2010. That was the year we did 118 transactions. So the pressure was really on. I think 2010 was the first year we took a vacation. I worked a deal the whole vacation that didn't close. So really let down my wife on that one. My inspiration all along, though, was my dad. Same dad that, I believe his mostly sputtering along, failing business, 33-year business owner. I believe that business got the best of him because he was focusing on all the aspects of the business and it never really took off. It was his dream to be a business owner. And so it just led to some not great things. And I think as a way to check out, I think part of it's addiction is there's a component that's hereditary. And I think part of it is there's a character issue there. Not so much, the pressure of the business and having to show up as a dad and a husband. I think a lot of that just got the best of him and he wasn't able to show up. So we did figure it out. This picture's a little bit older. My kids were still sort of on the cute-ish side. Most of the times, though, it was more of a crap show in our home in those early building years. This is probably Kendall at 4 or 5 years old, maybe. So I was 2012. That was the last year of production for me. We did 248 sides and I sold one of those homes. So I was just getting things together in the business and things weren't always perfect in the home front. But I did launch Real Estate B School in 2013 because I wanted it to be easier for other agents to ascend into business ownership than it was for me. And I'm going to answer that question about traditional admin versus virtual here. And yes to both. So I believe a local licensed admin, so I don't forget to answer that question, in a perfect world, a local licensed admin, which are going to be easy to find in the shifting market, can help you scale and they can go out and find virtual assistants. We are scaling our, so I've got two businesses now. I'm growing, I've got the traditional coaching business, so paid coaching business, and then I'm growing out Real Estate B School powered by eXp Realty. And we are scaling the business really exclusively via virtual assistants. So I've got one good operator and I've got everyone else is a virtual assistant. So that's the way I would roll with it now. I build it a little bit differently. So what should you know? You are wearing too many hats. Just think about in a single real estate transaction, how many functions you end up playing or how many roles, like business roles, you end up playing. You're generating a lead. So you're a marketer. You're probably putting that lead into a database. You're a data entry person. You are, prepping for an appointment. So you're an admin putting listing packets together. You're researching the market. So you're a research analyst. You are, showing up at the home, so you're an outside salesperson. You set the appointment, so you're an inside salesperson. And then you're taking the listing and then you're doing the paperwork, right? So you're getting back in an admin role. You're putting the listing in MLS. You're scheduling photography. You're scheduling, staging, all administrative, important, but all administrative. Then you're talking to agents as they have questions about the property, administrative, important, but administrative. You are getting that property into contract. So you're negotiating the contract, super high dollar productive activity. And then your contract to close, right? Lots of important steps, working with the buyer's agent and all of those steps, all administrative in nature. And you're doing all of it, right? So you're wearing all of the hats. Then you get to the closing table and then the Clients for Life program that you employ afterwards. And if you're doing that, again, it's super critically important, but administrative in nature. And so you're wearing all the hats and you are a glorified admin. This is the hardest part, is to make the mental shift. Your focus away from being a traditional real estate agent where you do all of the 12 jobs and just write out the jobs of being a listing agent and a buyer agent, from lead generated to happy client in the end, and be honest with yourself and shift your focus from traditional real estate agent where I do all of those jobs, where what are the 3 or 4 things that I can do that are the most dollar productive? And you have to think franchise prototype. This is another criticized example that I give, but think of it like a McDonald's franchise. The McDonald's brothers, they built the Speedy system in a single location, but they didn't have a vision to do it beyond that. And so when Ray Kroc came in, he had a vision. If you've seen the movie Founder, you can see he's not out in that movie to be the nicest guy, but he had a different vision, right? So he didn't want to do the technical work. He didn't want to manage people. He was the visionary that was thinking bigger. And how can I get other people to do all of those roles so that we can go bigger with the business? And essentially, if you were to duplicate your business 10,000 times, how would you think about it differently? That's the franchise prototype question from the book E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, right? You don't have to have a second location, but you'll never scale your business if you don't ask yourself that question. This is really simple stuff I'm going through, but not easy. And you just need to be honest with yourself about where you're spending your time. And just trust me on this challenge I have. Trust me that you need to think about your business differently. The real money is not made in doing all the things. A quote from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear: you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So in terms of getting there, how do we go about getting there? If you've checked into any of these trainings you've heard me talk about, you have to know your worth. You have to declare in advance how much your time is worth. If you don't do this exercise, you will forever fall into the trap of doing the thing. Whatever the thing is, 80% of the things you can, in my market, I can spend $25 or less to not do 80% of the activities a traditional real estate agent does. And I declared in advance that I wanted to make a lot of money in real estate, but I didn't want to work a lot of hours. You'll be capped in your production and your take-home income if you do all of the activities yourself. So my math was I wanted to take home $500,000 and I wanted to work 40 hours a week, which is 2,000 hours a year. That's $250 per hour. There are very few things that agents do that are worth $250 per hour. So if you could hover outside of yourself for the next 2 weeks and document, we actually have an exercise called a time study, but if you could hover outside of yourself for the next 2 weeks and document everything you did and be honest with yourself, like, is this really worth $250? Is this really worth $250? And this little angel is hovering above you, writing down all the things and judging its hourly worth. What would they come up with, right? That's how you have to think about things. We want to be productive, not busy. Most real estate agents are chickens with their heads cut off. This is the best definition of productivity I've ever seen. It's the deliberate strategic investment of your time, talent, intelligence, energy, resources, and opportunities in a manner calculated to move you measurably closer to meaningful goals. So if you're running a lockbox out to a property, is that important? Yeah, because agents can't get in to show your listing but is it deliberate and strategic? And is it moving you measurably closer to meaningful goals? Do you have to be the one doing that exercise, right? No, definitely not. There's so many examples I can give, but we need to think about the business differently. You have to focus on activities. If you're going to put an increment of time into your business, we need to get a massive return on that time. There's only 5 things. I covered this before: prospecting, lead follow-up, initial consultation appointment with a would-be buyer and seller client, negotiating a home under contract, and building systems. That's it. Not appraisal negotiations necessarily, not inspection repair negotiations necessarily. A lot of appointments that you take aren't as dollar productive as a new buyer consultation or a new seller consultation, right? So are you diligent about filling your calendar with 80% those activities? And we need to decide to play a different game. So the game that we're playing is the game of business, and there are inputs and there are outputs. The inputs are leads. There's a 5-step process, and then the output is a ridiculously lunatic raving fan that is going to climb to the top of the mountains and declare you as the only agent in all the land that everybody they know and don't know should use, right? And then we have to build systems around all of this. So leads are generated automatically, and then conversations are happening, appointments are being set, appointments are being met, new clients are being signed. They get to the closing table and they're ridiculously happy. They're saying great things, and we reuse that back into the top of funnel, right? That's the game we're playing. And in order to play that game, we have to look at our businesses differently, build systems around the 4 key drivers, which are attract, convert, deliver, scale, right? And I'm not going to go through the accelerators, but behind each of these drivers and accelerators are tools and systems that will allow you to scale your business. And you have to ask yourself, what is the next right thing that I should be working on? If you have a vision of doubling, tripling, quadrupling your business over the next 12 to 24 months, that's what you need to focus on. And you need to become crazy selfish with your time. Not selfish in general, just selfish with your time. You need to create an ideal week. You need to master time blocking and protect your time daily as it relates to working on those 5 things in your business that we just talked about. Number 5, and the last point here, is that you need to delegate the 80%. You will never, ever, 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 ever become financially free if you're always going to hold on to all of the 10 to 12 jobs of a real estate agent. It's not going to happen. Stop thinking that you can do it. You cannot do it. The only way to get there is to hire admin that can set you free. And that admin will help you build a business that is worth owning so you can live a life worth living. So you need to delegate. And this process of delegating is hard at first, but then you just, like everything else, you build a muscle and it becomes easier. The great thing is most agents will do none of this. That is the great news for all of us, is that most agents are so fearful, they're uncertain and doubtful, the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, about their ability to grow in a declining market. And that's the kind of, or a squirrely market, whatever you want to call this market, a fascinating market, right? It's a difficult time. Most agents won't lean in. Quick story about my business partner actually at EXP, John Mikish. I spent 3 years consulting into his business. He was just north of my market in Lake Norman, North Carolina. And he was eyeballs up in all of it, not making the kind of money that he wanted, working crazy hours. He was able to triple his business and take his business to the point where he was able to physically remove himself from the business. I mean, like get in an RV and travel for 12 months around the country and then settle in Bozeman, Montana, which was 1,300 miles away. And he did it with very simple systems, and it was not a complicated business. So, and it required administrative support to be able to get there. And those administrators helped build systems for the things in the business that were important, but they were not important that he would do them. They're just important to the process. So, quick quote from my favorite book, Atomic Habits: becoming the type of person you want to become, someone who lives by a stronger standard, someone who believes in themselves, someone who can be counted on by the people that matter to them, is about the daily process you follow and not the ultimate product you achieve. So the great news is that this starts where you are. It starts where you are, and it's one day at a time. The income you've been making in real estate is simply the result of the choices you've been making with your time. So I came into real estate, guys, at a time that you would think there's no chance I could have came in with no sales experience and went from zero in real estate, 27 homes sold in my first year, 44 or my first 10 months, 44 in my first full year. And I only hired my first agent the end of my second full year, 2009. Late that year, we sold 58 homes or something like that. Then went on to 118, 178, 248, 312, 453, hundreds of homes per year since then. And I just made different choices with my time and how I was going to spend my time. And so if you want to go further, faster, you guys know I'm looking for folks that can crush it and become our next case studies. All I have to offer you is a business growth assessment. Go to rebsgrowthassessment.com. It comes with a pretty awesome guarantee. So if you don't make a multiple of the income that you invest in this program, I will give you double your money back. Just go to REBS Growth Assessment. We'll see you over there. Much love, much respect. We'll talk to you guys soon. Be good.